'Tis this announced?
I know not.
It matters not. We've won. The state is safe.
The war is over. We can rejoice.
Yes, but Eteocles and not Polynices.
One the defender of our city, the other a traitor.
But this is not decent. For one full honors, the other eternally damned. Know the people of this decree?
We shall see.
Live from Thebes, here's Douglas Russell with the news.
Tonight we celebrate. The war is finally over. Our city is safe thanks to the sacrifice of Eteocles. Under his leadership, we repelled the army led by the rebel Polynices. The two sons of King Oedipus were both killed last night. The hostilities took place outside the city gates. Since King Oedipus died, Thebes has been ruled jointly by his two sons, Eteocles and Polynices, each serving alternating 2-year terms. The city was in a crisis at the time of the last transition. Frustrations had come to a boiling point as support for Polynices waned. Many claimed that Polynices was forcing them to live in a police state.
Polynices made this happen. His defeat lives at his own doorstep.
Creon, the brother of our deceased king Oedipus, proclaimed that because of the crisis in the city, it was imperative for Eteocles to remain on the throne permanently. The supporters of Eteocles all took to the streets to demand that he be the only king.
The people want us in power.
Conversely, Polynices stated he was the rightful and only heir to the throne. He claimed the kingdom permanently for himself. Tensions rose and hostilities erupted. Eteocles took to the throne and proclaimed that there would now be peace for all. Polynices and his supporters were banished from the city. This was a press conference held by Creon to announce that Eteocles was the true king.
Ladies and gentlemen, our ship of state will now set sail, peacefully, with room for all. Creon, the brother of our slain King Oedipus, has an announcement.
Eteocles has proven himself the true ruler of Thebes. With the present crisis, we have driven the forces of that tyrant from our land. Eteocles has promised to use everything in his power to ensure that Polynices and his followers never return to our city. As his uncle and member of the royal line, I will promise to use my power to ensure that Eteocles remains the right and sole ruler of Thebes.
Yes, what about the reports of Polynices and Argos raising an army to attack the city?
Those reports are true. I can assure you that Eteocles, with the support of Creon, will ensure that no harm will fall upon our city.
Question for Creon. Creon, there were reports that you went to Athens and tried to capture Polynices' two sisters.
Is that
in an
true?
attempt to ensure
I have made decisions that were in the best interest of Thebes. I always have, and I always will. None shall accuse me of doing otherwise. I will use everything in my power to ensure that Eteocles is the right sole ruler. No tyrant will ever enter our land and rule our kingdom.
Polynices is no tyrant.
Get
It's
her out of here.
Eteocles.
Take her out of here. Arrest her. Throw her into the prison.
Nor did I, Polynices.
Last night, the long-feared attack on Thebes finally occurred. Here is an account of the battle.
Silence reigns outside the city of Thebes tonight, where yesterday there were sounds of battle. We do not have any specific details of fatalities. We know that thousands of our brave men were injured or killed. Here, just outside the walls of the city, the rebel forces of Polynices met our army led by Eteocles. This has been termed the bloodiest battle on record.
We'd been expecting a fight ever since Polynices went up to Argos, but, it all happened so fast. You'd never be able to expect something like that. They came at us from the dark. It was so loud you couldn't think, you couldn't hear your orders. It's a miracle that every one of us ain't dead.
The battle dragged on from midnight until past 5 a.m. Near dawn reports indicate that Eteocles and Polynices themselves met face to face. After intense hand-to-hand combat, both brothers lay dead. As one eyewitness said, it was as if the gods had fated them to die as punishment for their lust for power.
For both to die.
And at each other's hands.
Today has been a day of both rejoicing and of mourning. The funeral rites for Eteocles will be performed at Ares Hall.
Today, the city has rejoiced and wept. We have won a glorious victory, yet Eteocles and many of our brave men paid the price in blood. Preparations are being made here in Ares Hall for the funeral of Eteocles. all rites and ceremonies are carefully being observed to guarantee him his rightful place in the underworld. As his uncle, Creon, is making every effort to ensure that the spirit of Eteocles is not doomed to wander endlessly because we failed to honor his remains. Preparations are also being made to crown Creon as our new king. It is estimated that 3/4 of the population will turn out to welcome the new ruler and his Queen Eurydice as they usher in our new peace.
We will continue to bring you coverage of the events of the day as they unfold.
No announcement was made.
For one, full honors, nothing for the other.
It's not right. The king
Quiet.
can't.
We must go to prepare for the funeral.
Ismene. Ismene. Oh, here. We are sisters, carrying the same blood in both of our veins. We share the same heart as our father Oedipus, don't we?
Yes.
The suffering that was his to bear is our burden also. A curse passed down to all his children. Pain, affliction, outrage, shame. All this and more we have endured together, you and I. But now there's more.
What?
Have you heard? Have you heard of the new proclamation which our great King Creon has given to the entire city? How those that we love most are to be treated with ridicule and detest that we reserve for deserters. Our family.
No one has told me of any proclamation. I know nothing either good or evil of anyone. I only know the terrible news that our brothers, each dying by the other's hand, brought an end to the war.
I thought as much, which is why I have called you here today. I knew that everyone would be in the streets celebrating the city's victories, so there was no risk of our being overheard.
What is it? Something terrible? Something dark is stirring in you, I can tell that.
What but the thought of our two brothers dead? The one Creon has graced with full funeral rites, the other left to rot where he fell. Eteocles has already been consigned to the earth with full honors, so his place among the dead is assured, but Polynices, who died just as painfully and is just as much our brother as Eteocles, is not to be buried at all. He is left to stink and decay, a feast for vultures to scent from afar and dogs to fill their gullets. Left unburied, he will be doomed to wander the earth, a soul without a home. Now the punishment for those who disobey this decree is public stoning. So now you know the whole truth. Now it's time for you to decide if you are going to stand up and be worthy of being a daughter of Oedipus or not.
But sister, if this is the case, what can I do about it?
Say that you'll assist me. Commit yourself.
In what venture?
Just to help me lift the body. I cannot bear him alone.
What? Bury him in spite of the law.
My brother, he will always be as well as yours. No one will ever be able to say that I abandoned him in life or in death.
You must be mad. You said that Creon has forbidden it.
Love for my brother cannot be forbidden by a king. Creon is not a god. Even the gods would be appalled by this mockery.
Have you forgot the fate of our father? By his own hand, he died after discovering the unknown crimes he had committed. Our mother hung herself by a rope upon learning she was both mother and wife to our father. And now, our brothers, each dying by the other's hand, you and I are the last of our family. And what punishment, what death lies before us if we defy the king and the power of the state? Break the law? Antigone, please, consider for a moment. We have no family. May the gods above and our forefathers that rest below forgive me, but I cannot. I must yield my submission to the power of the state. We are women without power. Such wild plans and heroic actions are madness.
Quiet. Do not speak. You've made up your mind. If you tried to help me now, I would stop you. By all means, be what you choose to be. break the laws of the gods, and suffer their wrath.
I revere the gods, but the state has unlimited power. How can I fight against that? What strength do I have that is strong enough to break the state?
Fine. That is feeble reasoning, Ismene. I will dig the earth to cover his body. I will assure that he finds rest in the worlds below.
You must be mad. I'm frightened for you. Creon.
Be afraid for yourself and not for me.
For the sake of all that is sacred, don't tell anyone you are doing this. I'll keep your secret.
Don't you dare. Shout it from the rooftops. If you begin to keep this a secret, I'll begin to despise you.
Inside you is a fire that will consume you. But I grow cold just hearing you talk.
I don't do this for you. It's for Polynices and for the gods that I go.
This will destroy you. Destroy us. Your failure is certain.
Then I fail. But I won't fail without trying.
But if the venture is hopeless, then why start when you
hush before I begin to hate you for being so weak? Keep speaking, and not only I, but the dead man will hate you too. And justly so. Go! You can go. Leave me to my task. If it destroys me, it destroys me. But fate will not rob me of a noble death, be it now or later.
Go, if your mind is so set. Antigone, it's insanity to do this. But know that I love you, no matter what. Antigone, please,
Woohoo! War is over. Through our perseverance, we have succeeded.
Victory to Thebes returns again.
Let us the temple strong, dance and sing the blessed night long.
God of Thebes, lead thou the round, Bacchus, shaker of the ground.
Let us end our revels here. Lo, Creon, our new lord, draws near.
Crowned by this strange chance, our king, what, I marvel, pondering?
Why this summons? Wherefore call us his elders, one and all?
Bidding us with him debate on some grave concern of state?
A new king enters and takes the throne. All responsibility to him, and to him alone.
Live from Thebes, here's Douglas Russell with a breaking news special report.
We interrupt our regularly scheduled programming to bring you this special event. Our new king, Creon, is about to address the city. As the brother of Oedipus, he is now king. Since the death of both Oedipus's sons, he is the only male left in the royal line. Now, we take you live to our new king.
Citizens, the gods have tossed our ship of state upon the rolling seas and yet have set us upright again. In a single day, 2 brothers incestuously murdered, each brother shedding his own brother's blood. As next of kin, I claim the throne, and I hold it today as mine by right. Concerning the sons of Oedipus, I have issued this proclamation. Eteocles, whose death occurred as he fought bravely for our country, is to be buried with full honors and the proper ceremonies as a hero of our state. But as for his brother, the traitor, the exiled Polynices, for him there is to be no burial at all. No one is to weep or mourn for him. His body is to be left open in the fields to rot, a scene to instill terror and all of those who wish to plot against our great state. Let his body and spirit forever wander, seeking rest from our world. Let this be a warning to all who wish to flout the power and authority of our state. But to those who love the state, I say this: I will exalt you in both life and in death. May the gods of our city continue to steer our ship of state towards fair skies.
You have been listening to our new king, live from his office. As he said, may the gods steer our city on a smooth course.
King of our land, thus thou wiltst to deal with him who loved and with him who loathed our state.
You have delivered your verdict and your sentence.
Upon the man who defended the city.
And the man who attacked it.
You have the full power to use any law as regards the dead.
As well as us, the living.
What do you command of us, sir?
Make sure that my orders are obeyed.
On other shoulders lay this grievous charge?
Fear not. Guards have been posted to watch the corpse.
And for us?
Not to connive at disobedience.
My lord, no one would be so mad as to court his own death.
And that will be the price. Death. Men always exist when their hope of profit is greater than their fear of death.
You, soldier, what is your business?
I have a message for the king.
What you think?
Soldier, what is your meaning?
Yes, my lord, Creon, sir.
Well?
At ease, soldier.
Yes, well, sir, you see, there's
Soldier,
something
I
I
need
need to tell you.
Speak up or leave my sight.
My lord, Creon, if I can hardly speak because I'm out of breath, it's not because I've been running. As a matter of fact, I kept on stopping half a dozen times. And I hung about as much as I dared. I haven't thought about anything so much for a long time. Listen, don't rush, I said to myself. Chances are, poor Sod, you'll cop it when you get there. But then I said to myself, see, hang about. Or rather don't, because if someone else tells Creon, then you're
Soldier,
really in
tell
trouble.
Me what?
And so I hurried here. As slow as I could. Going round and round in circles in my head, as well as with my feet. It's funny how long a mile can take when you're thinking what I was thinking. However, duty called in the end, and I reckoned it would be safer to face it out. It may be unimportant, but I've come here, so now I'll tell you. No. If I'm punished for this, the gods will be behind it, that's for sure. So I wouldn't escape it anyway.
Soldier, tell me, what has you so frightened?
Well, sir, to begin with, the way I see it, I never done it.
Oh.
And I didn't see who else did it neither, so I shouldn't be punished for it. Should I?
Look, soldier, is there need for all of this preamble? You are carefully distancing yourself from what you have to say, so it must be bad news indeed.
The news is bad, sir, very bad. I don't know how to put it for the best.
The most direct way possible, and then we can be rid of you.
Straight out with it then. The body's been buried.
What?
Someone or other. Just a bit of dry dust, a handful or so, but properly sprinkled, you know, like religiously to cover the body. And then whoever it was just gone.
What are you saying to me? Someone dared disobey my orders. Who? Who was it?
Who knows, sir? We don't got no clue. There weren't no digging or spade marks or nothing. The ground's as hard as a rock. And no tracks, neither. In fact, no clues at all. Nothing at all to tell us who might have done it. It was as though the body had disappeared. Not put into a proper grave, I don't mean, but just a covering with a layer of dirt. Almost as if some stranger walking by with a religious bent knew that being left unburied was everlasting wandering of the earth and torment, had just thrown a bit of dirt on the body. No, I know you don't like hearing it any more than I like saying it. The guy who brings bad news never gets a reward. My lord Creon, there's a lot of sense in the words of this man, but your policy has worried me from the start.
Politically, is this some type of threat?
Or sign?
Possibly a manifestation from the gods.
You dare to challenge me? Be quiet, every one of you, before I lose my temper. Money. Bribery has corrupted my soldiers and has paid for this challenge to my authority. You, soldier, come here. Get this into your head. You will locate the man who buried Polynices' body, that very man, and bring him to me. or you will die in his stead for him. And perhaps that will show us where your best interests lie. Crimes against the state, you will find, are much unprofitable indeed.
May I speak, sir?
No. Why should I let you? Everything you say is a knife in my ear!
Well, come on, it can't be an earache, can it, sir? Not what I said.
Take care of him.
It must stick down in your gullet, or further down, a pain in the conscience, perhaps. What? No.
You dare to answer me back and make a joke about my conscience!
Me, sir? No, sir. I give you an earache. I can see that. I talk too much. Always have done. But the other pain, the heartburn, as it were. That's the criminal causing that. No, not me. Not me.
You're not short of a quick answer, are you?
Maybe not. But it wasn't me. I didn't do it. Not guilty of marrying him. No, sir.
But maybe guilty of selling your eyes for some gold. Or maybe taking a nap at the proper time for some money, eh?
Sir, it is a shame that someone as intelligent and well-educated as yourself can misunderstand things so completely. Well, me, I never went to school. I was...
Your opinions don't matter to me. If you do not do as I command and locate this enemy, if you do not protect our state by bringing that man to me, then directly in front of me, you will learn that no amount of money, no matter who paid you, will be enough to protect your worthless life. Get him out of here!
No, let's hope they find him, whoever he is. I'll never step foot in this place again.
Keep an eye out.
Is there anything more wonderful on earth than the miracle of man?
With what arrogant ease he rides the dangerous seas.
Speech and the wind-swift speed of counsel and civic wit, he hath for himself all of these.
He hath provision for all. Fell plague he hath learnt to endure, safe whate'er may befall. Yet for death he hath found no cure.
Passing the wildest flight of thought are the cunning and skill that guide man now to the light, but not to counsels of ill.
If he honors the laws of the land and reveres the gods of the state, proudly his city shall stand.
But a city, an outcast, irate. Whoso bold in his pride from the path of right doth depart.
Ne'er may I sit by his side, nor share the thoughts of his heart.
Live from Thebes, here's Douglas Russell with a breaking news special report.
This is breaking news. We have just received reports of a disturbance at the location where our slain hero, Eteocles, was able to defeat the treacherous usurper, Polynices.
There was a chaotic scene here this afternoon on the ground where our leader, Eteocles, was slain by the rebel Polynices. We are not sure what happened here today.
Well, I was walking by in a hurry, and, the smell from the body was not something that you wanted to be around. And then it was like the wind blew up a dust storm. But I didn't really feel any wind, just mostly dust. And so I went away in a hurry, and then I turned around, and I saw someone, and it looked like a girl, but she was yelling, screaming, and crying, and why she would want to be that close to the corpse, I don't know.
Others told us of a strong military presence in the area.
We had seen all these soldiers around as we were leaving the city. I thought we had won the war, Then there was this weird dust storm. As it calmed down, we could hear all this yelling and screaming. We saw soldiers running down from the hills towards this one gal. I didn't see what she did or why they were bombarding her, but I left as fast as I could because I didn't want to be next.
From what we can piece together, it looks like someone has tried to bury the body of Polynices. The authorities have someone in custody, but we don't know who. It was a bold act. No one would talk to me on camera about it, but some are calling whoever tried to bury him a hero. They are saying that Creon is an executioner by not burying the body so that his spirit goes to its eternal rest.
A troubling situation indeed. We will bring you more as we uncover the unfolding drama surrounding the slain rebel. This is Douglas Russell, signing off.
Woo! I got her. Here's that woman who buried the body of Polynices.
What a strange vision meets my eye.
Fills me with a wild surprise.
Sure, I know her. That 'tis she?
The maid Antigone.
Hapless child of hapless sire.
Didst thou recklessly conspire?
Madly, pray for the king's decree.
Therefore, are they hailing thee?
I caught her in the act, I tell you, in the act. Where's the king? Where's Creon?
Here comes the king.
He's just in time, too.
Just in time for what? Why all this noise? What has happened?
I got her.
You!
Yep.
Enough. State your purpose, and you best have news more palatable than the last that I laid eyes on you.
My lord, after quailing beneath the tempest of your threats, no mortal could deny, but... Oh, methought no force would ever drive me back to see this place again. But oh, joy is unbounded, hope is out of bounds of all delight. And so here I am, and glad to be so this time, though I had once sworn I would never come. For my own part, I have good right to be free and away of this bad business I come upon.
Enough! State your business, or feel my wrath.
Sorry, your worship. Talk in circles, always have done. Here it is, straight away. I got her. Caught in the act of caring for the dead.
Who have you caught?
But, sir.
Soldier, I do not have time to deal with this right.
This maid here. Caught her, I did, in the very act of burying the body. There is no disputing, sir. This is mine, sir. I got her. So now, my sovereign lord, examine her, convict her. For my own part, I have good right to be free and away of this bad business I come upon.
This woman. Soldier, do you know what you are saying? How did she come into your charge?
One word. She was burying the body. Is that clear enough or not?
But how? How was she seen and taken while doing it?
Well, we went and cleaned off the body like you said, and that was hard. Oh, the smell. It was all clammy and wet-like. Anyway, we moved away so we could still see it, but not have to smell it. And then, it was as if this whirlwind blew up, like a twister, all in one spot. It suddenly stopped, and when it cleared, this girl was standing there. She picked up some dust and sprinkled it on the body, and then started pouring perfumes on it like you're supposed to do with the dead.
Careful.
Well, I knew what you had said, and so I wasted no time. With a holler, we ran. I was down on her faster than Zeus can throw lightning, and so here she is.
And you, with your head bent floor and your eyes to the floor, what do you say to this? Did you do it or not? Are you guilty or not?
Yes, I'm guilty. I won't pretend otherwise.
You, soldier, be gone.
Creon, real quick, I was wondering, is there any way maybe I could get some kind of a reward out of this?
Leave! And thank thy luck that you have escaped such a heavy charge.
Well, I was right to never want to come back to this place again. If I ever see a king again in this life, it'll be too soon.
Go! You, tell me directly, yes or no. Did you hear of the edict forbidding the burial of the traitor?
Yes, I heard about it. How could anyone not?
And yet you dared to break the law.
Yes, I did, for it was a law ordained by a man, and not by the gods. I will suffer the slings and arrows of men before I defy the eternal laws. I could not leave my brother there in the open, so that his soul was damned to wander for all eternity. My death is coming someday, whether you make laws or not, but if I die a maiden, rather than a grandmother, I will welcome it. But the thought of my brother lying there unburied, that I could not endure. You judge me and think me a fool, but to me, the judge is the foolish one.
This is her father speaking.
This woman is as iron-willed as her sire. Even with the entire state against her, she will not give way.
Misfortune does not subdue her will.
That we will try. This woman is proud. Her pride was on display when she broke our law, and it is even sharper relief now, insulting me and to my face while glorying in her crime will be her undoing. If this is tolerated, then all authority, all power of the state would collapse, and that will not be allowed. There is nothing more disgusting than the confessed criminal who, when caught, seeks to justify their actions as this woman has done here today. She is my sister's child, but were she a daughter, she would not escape the punishment of the state. Go, get her sister. I know that there are traitors in their family. I accuse your sister of being a part of this conspiracy. Find her. There is nothing more hateful than a scoundrel who seeks to make a virtue out of a crime.
What do you want from me? Slay me and be done.
I only want your death, and that will be enough.
Then why wait? You bore me with your pomposity, and you won't listen to any of my arguments. Where could I have found a fairer fame than that of burying my own true brother? If I'm to be famous, let it be for that. All these citizens of yours, they agree with me in their hearts. But there's nothing to stop the speech like terror. Is there, gentlemen?
Antigone.
You go too far.
Of all of these Thebans, none deems so but you.
These think as I, but bow to thee and to your decree.
And aren't you not ashamed of acting alone?
To reverence kith and kin can bring no shame.
Was not Eteocles thy brother too?
My mother bore them from the same sire.
So you cast a slur on one by honoring the other.
Neither of my brothers would say that.
Eteocles cries it from his grave! He had a traitor for a brother. Were he living, he would not call good evil or evil good.
It was not a slave, but my brother who died!
Attacking our lands! The other stood against him in its defense.
Nevertheless, it is the worlds below that demand these rights.
And if good and bad are to be honored equally, then where are our values? Patriotism? Civic duty?
Death is a land below. These things may not matter, their crimes they may even be.
Not even death can make a foe a friend. An enemy is still an enemy, dead or alive.
My nature is not to hate, but to love. Love enough I have for both, uncle.
Then join the dead if you must. No woman will ever command me.
But, my lord, look, citizens.
Is Meanie weeping?
Crying for your sister?
Or your brother?
Her face is raw with tears.
Slayed with misery. Her loveliness is now scarred with anguish.
And you, serpent, coiling about my house to slay me in secret, I looked away, and like terrorists, you wished to destroy me. Tell me, do you admit to your part in this conspiracy, or do you forbear all of your knowledge of it?
I am guilty, if my sister will let me be so. I was equally a part of this, and just as guilty as she.
Nay, that isn't right!
Traitors.
You would not when I asked for your help, Ismene, and now I refuse to make you my ally.
Sister, mock me not. Now that you are accused, I'll gladly stand beside you in danger.
You cannot claim an honor for that which fear prevented you. Our brother knows who honored him. What good are people who are all words and no deeds?
Oh, sister, scorn me not. Let me take part in thy work of piety and die with you.
Claim not the action you refused. One death will be enough. Why do you want to die?
Life without you, without our brothers, it is not life.
Then ask King Creon to give you your life. He is your uncle and your king.
These women are deranged, the both of them. One has lost her wits in front of our very eyes, and the other one has been mad since she was born.
So it is. Even the toughest lose their minds when misfortune falls.
You cast lots of your senses when you cast yourself with this vile woman.
What can life be without my sister?
Don't speak of her. She is dead.
Will you kill the woman your son is to marry?
A young man has no lack of choice. There are plenty in the fields to plow.
But they love each other. You cannot deny
My son will not marry this common criminal. A plague. A plague on harlots who court and woo our son.
Oh, I'm a harlot now, am I?
Set her down!
Let go of me!
But they are formally betrothed.
Will you refuse your son the joy of his life?
Eventually, death comes between all men in their joys.
Will you rob your son of her?
It is not I, but Hades, who is stopping this union.
It is decided, then, that she will die?
Yes. Yes, decided first by you and then by me. My friends, you all agreed to my decree by your silence before these traitors were revealed here to us. I am resolved. Take them away and make them learn as women, and guard them close, for even the bravest will fly once they see that death is coming.
Thrice blessed are those who've never tasted pain.
When once the blow hath fallen upon a house with heaven-sent doom,
Age after age, and each the cup must drain.
trouble descends on ever-widening gloom.
Hope flits about, never wearying wings. Profit to some light loves she brings.
But no man knows how her gifts may turn, till 'neath his feet treacherous ashes burn.
Evil oft seemeth goodness to the mind, and angry God doth blind.
Few are the days that such as he may live untroubled of calamity.
Live from Thebes, here's Douglas Russell with a breaking news special report.
We interrupt our regularly scheduled programming for this special event. We are now going live to hear from our king.
My people, the treacherous seas which have threatened our ship of state have been calmed. The threat to our authority and stability has been eliminated from both without and within. The attack upon our city has been crushed, and the treachery, yes, even the treachery within my own household, has been ferreted out. The stubbornest of wills are soonest bended. Pride may not be endured in one whose life is subject to command. This maid here hath been conversant with her crime since she first trampled upon public law. And now she adds to her crime this insolence, to laugh at our authority and glory in her crime. If she can thus flout the power and authority of our state, then I am the woman, and she the man. No one within the palace or without is above the law. She will be punished as the law dictates. Let this be a warning to all evildoers who wish to flout the power and authority of our great state. Get her out of here.
This was live from the office of our king. We have learned that Antigone has been sentenced to death. She defied the law and attempted to bury her brother, the rebel Polynices. There are also rumors circulating that some are expressing support for Antigone in her illegal activities. This concludes our special report.
The stock of Oedipus hath woe on woe.
Age following age, the living and the dead.
Fresh sorrow fallen on each new risen head.
My lord, here he comes in angry mood. Haman, latest of thy brood.
Is it for his bride he's grieved, or her marriage bed deceived?
Doth he make his plea for thee, a maiden forlorn, that of Antigone?
We shall soon know from his own lips without the need of fortune tellers. My dear son, I know well that you've heard of the decree issued against your bride, and I hope that you not come in a spirit of anger towards me, but in love. Comrades we have been, and nothing can shake my love for you.
Compatriots we have been, and I will attempt to follow your wisdom in matters of state. It is only my benefit to do so. A marriage without your blessing would be worthless to me.
Ah, well said. Secure yourself to that. The opinion of the father should always be followed by a son. Passion is fleeting. Her embraces quickly wax cold. There is nothing as violent as bitterness between two people who were once in love. Go, expel her from your life. This girl is a traitor, an enemy. She is not good for you or your prosperity. She's a poison to be spat out. Go, let her find a bridegroom among the dead. My son, don't be fooled. This girl is a criminal. Leadership and authority must be paramount, and it will be enforced every time and by me. No female will cause us to budge an inch. If we are to fail, it will be because of a man, not a woman who disposes of us, eh, son? Not some hallucination conceived by a woman.
My lord Creon, from one father to another, I believe you have spoken rationally and sensibly.
With a wisdom gathered from long experience.
Now, the choicest gifts bestowed by the gods on man is the ability to reason.
Right.
Now, it is not my place to disagree, even if I were smart enough or accomplished enough, which I'm not.
True.
Now, however, it is a truth that some people see these things differently. And by being your son, I find that my best use to you is to be knowledgeable of what others are thinking, what they say, what they do, what they approve of, they disapprove of, and sometimes what they leave unsaid. Now, the promise of your displeasure will silence most men, and many things are left unsaid out of fear of the ramifications. However, occasionally I hear what is said in secret.
Do you?
Far and wide, sympathy is given for this doomed girl, damned as she is to a death most horrible, a death that no maiden of our city has ever suffered, and unjustly, most people say. And for burying a brother killed in war, she did the moral task so that his body was not laid bare on the field of battle as a feast for the vultures to strip to the bone. She should be honored for it, most people say. Father, this has been whispered to me behind closed doors. With this in mind, it is wise to hear and take the advice of others when it is offered.
My lord Creon, there's a lot of sense in the words of this young man.
And there is wisdom in what you say too.
In reality, you both are correct.
There is good in both arguments.
There is there? Tell me, at my age, am I to take a lesson in politics from a boy who barely has a beard?
Father, I am a man. My reasons are right. They stand on their own logic, not on my age.
They stand on their own logic. Do you hear that? Tell me, what benefit, what value is there to break the law?
Well, if she had done something shameful, something against the gods, she would have no defense from me.
She has cast shame upon our law. That is contemptible.
Oh, would you hear it from the people on the streets? Father, in their homes, the marketplace, the pilgrims in the temple, the people of Thebes. They say that she hasn't.
Never have I once placed my actions or political principles upon the people of the streets.
Oh, never?
Let alone a pilgrim at a temple.
Oh, who sounds like a callow youth now? You.
I am the king, and I will speak like one. I claim responsibility and take these actions upon my own principles.
Yeah, well, when the law comes from one man, it can no longer be a law.
The state is the king who rules it. The law is his judgment. It is his property.
Fine. Go be a king in the desert then. There, no one will be present to argue with you. Ooh, what a fine king you will be of sand and scorpions.
This misbegotten child of mine only cares for that woman. You are on her side.
Well, yes, father. If you are a woman, I am on your side here. It is for you that I fight.
You impertinent devil, everything you say is to discredit me, your father.
Well, knowing you are wrong, I must speak out.
Wrong. Wrong. How? By doing the duty that my position requires of me, by being our king. Now, how is that wrong?
Well, when position and authority overtake the law of the gods,
Weak,
father.
Miserable, pliable cur. These thoughts are not your own. You are her agent.
I have no shame for what I have said. The gods won't allow it, father.
Every speech, every breath begs for her cause, gods or no.
I'm begging for you and for me. For the good of humanity, respect for the gods, respect demanded for the dead.
Never will you marry that traitor. She won't be alive until your wedding day.
If she dies, there will be another death. 2. Not 1.
Threats. Was that a threat?
No.
How dare you consider threatening me?
No, there are no threats. Your policy was baseborn from the start. The gods won't allow it.
Baseborn? My son, if there's anything that is baseborn here, it is you.
Oh, were you not my father, I would say you are demented.
Don't say father to me. These thoughts all come from her. You are her puppet, a fool about the gods.
How can anyone else speak? Are all of us to remain stifled or obedient? Must you always have the right and final word in everything?
As the king, I will have the last word to you, a promised son. Sons must learn discipline even through punishment. Go, get her, the traitor.
No!
She can die
No!
with her bridegroom by her side. In fact, if he wants, he can be here to witness her execution.
No! No, Father, I will never see that. And nor will you ever lay eyes on me again. And all of you who want to stay here with this madman and watch this debased spectacle are welcome to it.
My lord Creon, your son is possessed by uncontrollable fury.
It has blown him about like a storm,
The anger of a young man can be terrifying.
even when it's in the defense of moral law.
Fine! Let him leave. He can shout about the gods and about morality until it drives him senseless. The women are to die. More than some prattle about morality will save them now. Now that, my friend, is a promise.
Both, sir? You are to put both sisters to the sword.
You will make them a martyr.
Well, then no. No, I'll listen to your advice. Only the one who disobeyed, the one who buried the body.
And for her?
How is she to die?
We'll take her to some place that is lonely, isolated, deserted by everyone. There, find her a cave and seal up the entrance, but give her enough food and water so that she can't say that we, the state, are to blame. Time she will have there to honor her gods of the dead. See if they receive her prayers. And if so, well, then they can release her. My friends, she must learn that it is not the responsibility of the living to worship the dead.
When the god of unbridled passion makes war, he always wins. Men lose their wits, and none are spared.
What else could provoke this strife between father and son, this family divided with murderous anger between kin?
God Eros, resistless in fight, gives hope of changing day to night.
I'll yield at glance of love's true eye.
The love who on a maiden's cheek does lie.
Love who looks to be set free, shall mortals vain to yield to thee? Mad are love's subjects all, and wisest straight to folly fall.
At touch of Eros' poisoned dart, lovers near be torn apart. So who avoids thy captive glance?
Mortal or immortal, all must dance.
None are immune. E'en gods almighty, madly thou mockest all dread Aphrodite.
Antigone, prisoner number 21122.
Lo, I myself am torn aside from justice as I view this bride.
Antigone, so young, so fair, death's bower with the dead to share.
In all my goings from place to place, Thebes has always been my home. Born here, bred here, and removed here for my final journey. No wedding for me, no music, no maids to shower my chambers. My wedding gift, eternity in a stone tomb. My dowry forever not to be, as death serves as my bridegroom.
But bethink thee, thou art sped great and glorious to the dead.
In thy boldness over rash, madly thou thy foot didst dash.
High justice altar doth declared, though a father's guilt dost bear.
You touch my most poignant pain. Ill-conceived as I was by a mother-wife, with her husband's son. The curse of Oedipus lies on us all. My brother slain by the other's hand, a sister accused, a mother hanged, a father blind, all of us foredoomed. But to the last, I honor them all in life and death, both theirs and mine.
Religion has its chains, 'tis true. Let rights be paid when rights are due.
Yet it is ill to disobey the powers which hold by might the sway.
Thou, who hast withstood authority, art praised by the majority.
Save your sorrows. Weep no false tears. I know the path I must take to that land of eternal sorrow, the sunless waters of the country. You will take me, but I will travel alone in silence to that mansion under the stone.
Oh, if death could be curtailed by wailing, lamentations, or other operatic dirges, well, then this self-indulgent performance would never end. I have seen enough of this miserable display. Take her to her rock-vaulted tomb with her mountain overhead for a gravestone. See if the gods will answer her prayers, and leave her there to decide if she is to live or die. Or, if you prefer, you can live in your grave. Why not? Because the grave is the only fit place for her now. Solitary confinement among the dead. See if the gods will save her now. There is no longer a place for you here among the living.
My grave, my honeymoon bed, my prison, all are one. My crypt under the stone. I'll see so many of my relations there. My father, my mother, my beloved Polynices, whose broken body I set to rest. And for that I am to die. If I had a husband lost, he could be replaced. A son or daughter, I could have another. But with both mother and father in the underworld, how could I have another brother? How could one arise to comfort me? There are some I know who respect my actions. What moral laws have I broken? What eternal truths have I denied? None. And yet now I am to die. Not even the gods can help me. And there's no man that will, I'm sure of that. No help and no hope. How can there be when human decency has been banished?
Truly, an unchained fury beats in the heart of this maiden.
The sooner that she is forgotten, shut up, and placed out of sight, the better. We need none prattling about their morality and the gods. The state, my friends, is paramount.
That word is my death.
And now, it is spoken. Do not expect the comforts of hope. None for you exists.
This city is the city of my father.
How dare you?
Thebes, a royal city, and now I am to be no more. A daughter of kings, the last of the royal bloodline.
Guards, take her
I am
away!
to die unjustly for upholding the laws of justice. Creon, you're not a god! Creon! Creon! Creon!
Get back to work!
Like to thee, that maiden bright, Danae in her brass-bound tower once exchanged the glad sunlight for a cell, her bridal bower.
Strange are the ways of fate, its power, no wealth nor arms withstand the hour.
Nor ships that breast the sea.
No one from fate can flee.
Live from Thebes, here's Douglas Russell with the news.
There are protests tonight outside the offices of our king Creon.
News of the planned execution of Antigone has reached the streets. People have gathered here to protest the decision by Creon to entomb her. This was the scene as Antigone was being led away. Protesters have gathered outside to witness the final steps of the woman they claim to be a hero. The crowd was silent as Antigone was led out. The only sound was the quiet sobbing from some in the crowd. Here is what one protester had to say.
She did what was right. She shouldn't be killed. We all know that.
Free Antigone! Let her go!
As you can see, there are many people who are upset with this sentence. However, if past history with state decisions is any indication, then her fate is sealed.
We will bring you the outcome of this situation as events unfold.
Against destiny one may rebel.
Yet that soon calls the dread death knell.
What is going on? Guards! Guards, what is going on out here? Get this under control right!
Princes of Thebes and our new king Creon. This child and I travel as joint wayfarers together, sharing one pair of eyes between us, as one without temporal sight must do.
Oh, Tiresias, my old friend, what news brings an old one so far away from home?
News of import, a wise one will heed.
Well, I've never rejected your sound counsel.
And like a wise captain, your ship of state has avoided the rock.
And because of that, we owe you a great debt.
Then listen wisely. Thou art on the razor's edge of peril. You're a man in danger of falling to be cut in twain.
Tiresias, what is this? These words of yours inspire fear in me, and from you who have foretold so many past horrors. What is your meaning?
The divination of my arts I will make plain. As the signs and symbols are clear to me, my words will be crystal to you. I saw in nature things unnatural. A jargon of strange twitterings, hoots, and screams assaulted my ears. I went to my altar to see what I could learn through sacrifice by fire. Yet nothing would burn. A filthy liquid came from the flesh and sputtered into the coals. The gallbladder burst and melted, dissolving the fat from the thigh bone and dripped down, oozing and sputtering into the flame, creating a stench that enveloped all. This sign was clear, O king, thy willful temper ails the state. All our shrines and altars are profaned by what has been filled by the stomachs of dogs and crows. The flesh of Oedipus's son left unburied, vomited onto the streets and doorsteps by the beasts of the field have polluted our kingdom. The gods themselves are appalled. They will not allow this blasphemy to stand. Think upon this, my son. To err is common to all men, but to man who erred hugs not his errors, who repents and seeks thy cure, is not wastrel nor unwise. There is no fool like the obstinate fool. Polynices is dead. You cannot avenge yourself by killing him again. What glory is won by slaying which has already been slain? This is good advice offered by one who means thee well. Accept it.
Am I your mark, old woman, that you would shoot all of these shafts at me? Well, Tiresias, you are not the only one that is wise here. I am wise to the ways of charlatans and pretenders. Peddlers you all are. Am I your merchandise that is to be bought and to be sold? Go, leave, make your profit abroad. But this I tell you, gold enough in all of our kingdom does not exist to buy a grave for that traitor.
Are there any wise men left anywhere?
Oh, by Zeus, how profound! With what thunderous platitudes does she wish to follow that?
You insult me to my face. You say my visions are both false and dishonest.
The prophets are all money-grubbing charlatans.
An ill-gotten lucre is the curse of kings.
I am the king, and you will speak to me like I am one.
Yes, you are the king. My sound advice is what makes you so.
Tiresias, I warned that you have been proved right on more than one occasion, but honesty is another matter. I've never trusted you.
Take heed. You will prove me to reveal the dark mystery that's hidden deep within my breast.
Then reveal it then. Tiresias, by all means, say anything at all, but say it honestly, and not for cash.
Hear this, Creon. Know this to be true. Before many more settings of the sun, you'll have paid by the fruit of your own loins. You have buried the one alive, yet the dead is unburied.
You lie.
You will pay life for life.
No.
The dead you have left
No.
wet, unwashed, without the covering of earth, one gives a mongrel usurped powers that even the gods don't question. Even now, vengeance is approaching the city. The furies of rage no men can
Tiresias,
withstand
please,
are now at the
calm
city
down.
gates waiting. Take
Get
the
off
upon
me!
you, the author of this sacrilege, cries in suffering of unrelenting tears shall fill this house. Other states will turn upon you too for this affront to the heavens.
No.
Men as well as women will feel the weight of this punishment. The flesh of the dead man vomited onto the streets by dogs will rise up to punish you. The city will reek of death, and all citizens will turn upon you, the author of this horror, to seek their vengeance.
No!
Now, consider if my prophecies are being bought by gold.
Tiresias!
Lead me home now, child. Let others stay behind to hear his contemptible outbursts, or let him become wise and learn to control his tongue.
Tiresias, please! Tiresias, I command you to stop! Tiresias!
My lord, the seer is gone, foretelling of more woe.
There's terror in her words.
She's ne'er pronounced untrue, nor have I known the prophet's warning false.
I know it too. and it shakes me to my core. Like she said, the obstinate soul that fights with fate is grievously smitten.
The time calls loud on wisdom. And listen to good advice.
Oh, my friends, tell me what to do. Advise me. I will obey.
Release the maiden from her rocky cell.
Honorably bury the dead man.
Is that your counsel?
Yes.
You would have me yield. You don't all think that.
We do, sir.
It's what
It
you
is
must
what
do.
is
The
best.
God's sakes, do it quickly.
The vengeance of the gods is never more swift than when punishing men for the consequences of their own actions.
Oh, this is unendurable. To yield is unthinkable. It goes against every action, every principle that I have stood upon.
Redemption.
My friends, I dare not fight with these laws of destiny.
Then go on, sir.
Go now.
Go quickly. Do it personally.
Sin not others.
Do it by thine own hand.
Yes, I go hot-footed. Come, my people, bring the sledgehammers, bring the spades. This, my resolution does sway. It was I that bound her, and it will be I who sets her free. By this very hand, I will tear down the bricks if necessary. My fear tells me that it may be best to let the old way stand, and that, my friends, is a voice to which every prudent man must listen to.
They can call themselves lucky.
The fortunate few.
Who never tasted the bitter cup of pain.
But when an unlucky family incurs the god's wrath, from generation to generation, they must swallow the bitter potion.
Again, and then again.
Just as rollers crash.
And sea spray whips on an exposed beach.
And black clouds lower, and the gale from the north screams through frozen lips, while a sea casts up from its depths a shower of pebbles along the shore.
Black sands from the chasms of the ocean darken the strand on every descendant of the ancient line of Labdicus.
Divine and merciless retribution falls in the unremembered past.
Some unforgiving Olympian set the weight of his vengeance
On the whole race.
So that agony,
Destruction.
Destruction.
Disgrace.
Disgrace. Destroys sons and daughters and darkens their halls.
With tragedy, the cold hand of the dead reaches out for the living.
And no one is spared. Another generation sheds its blood.
New light is snuffed out.
The young root bared.
by the same bloody axe. The characteristic sin of Oedipus
Arrogance.
brings its bleak harvest in.
For Zeus is all-powerful.
No man can match him.
Those who would climb in their greatness or wickedness beyond the permitted height.
He brings to destruction and despair, and no man can claim to have understood hope or ambition.
So that the flames may burn under his feet.
And the once solid wood of his life is reduced to its last condition.
Ashes.
And dust.
A flaming sword hangs over his head. No future but the grave.
And a funeral urn.
Citizens, listen! No man's life ever moves smoothly according to plan. One moment, a man rides high on the wings of his fortune. Yes, the next he crashes to the depths. My friends, what life can there be when the things that make life pleasurable are all destroyed? It's a kind of death, moving and breathing, but not living. A shadow, a mockery, a vulgar pageant. Tell me, who can take pleasure in things like power and wealth when all happiness is dead in his heart?
What news?
More fresh woes for this royal house.
Tell us!
Both are dead. 'Tis the living who deserve the blame.
Who's dead?
Who is the slayer and who is the victim?
What happened?
Speak. Haman, the king's son. His blood shed, and by no stranger's hand.
By his father's.
Or by his own.
By his own hand, impelled with a violent wrath at Creon for the murder of his bride.
The prophet's warning.
It all came true.
So stands the case. 'Tis in your hands now.
Look who I see approaching.
Creon's unhappy wife, Eurydice.
Comes she here by chance?
Or has she learned of her son's fate?
Good friends, I have overheard talk. As I passed out to offer up my prayers to Pallas Athene, I heard some of your conversation. It was enough to put fear into the heart of any mother. The fear that an accident or disaster has happened to this family, I nearly fainted. My ladies-in-waiting caught me in their arms. Please, speak it out plainly, no matter the news. I can bear it as one who is not unacquainted with misery.
My dear queen, a woman who is honored by us all. I was with your husband and saw everything. I went with the king to the battlefield where lay the body of Polynices. It was horrible. The dogs and vultures had already been at it. So we prayed. We asked the gods to have pity on him and on us, not to be angry. And we washed him, what was left of him, with water from the stream from Mount Olympus. We cut fresh branches to build a pyre and burn the remains. We buried him with a mound of his own Theban earth. Not one of his ashes remained above. When we had finished, we hurried to the mountain that served as the bridal chamber and crypt for the girl wed only to the grave. But before we arrived, one of the soldiers came hurrying back to tell the king that deep from within the mountain he had heard something terrible. A screaming or wailing was emanating from the earth. As the king approached, he heard it too. The great king groaned aloud, and we all heard him say, "Is that my son's voice in there? Guards, anybody squeeze through where someone has forced an opening and tell me if that is my son's voice or if the gods are playing a trick on me." So we went, we looked as the half-crazed king had told us to. In the far corner we saw her. A noose of linen twined about her neck where she had hung herself with strips from her own dress. And hard beside her, clasping her cold form, was her lover, bewailing his dead bride and father's cruelty. And we watched as he lovingly lowered her body to the stony floor, all while sobbing over his loss. That's when the king saw him. With a terrible groan, the king moved toward him, crying, "Oh, my son! What have you done in coming here? Are you mad? There is nothing for you here! This is just death and annihilation and despair! Come with me! And leave this place. For the sake of the gods, I am begging you to come with me." But the son just glared at him. His eyes were terrifying. With a wave of anger that I had never seen before, and without another word, he spat in his father's face, drew his sword, and lunged at Creon. But the king was quick and stepped out of the way. The boy, with an anger unto himself, the poor boy, held the blade to his breast and plunged it into his ribs. The sword sheathed itself into his body. Yet breathing, he fell, gasping beside his dead bride. He cradled her lifeless body, warming her again with his blood. His breathing became shorter and heavier as we watched the light drain from his eyes. His blood soaked her skin so that her cheeks once again glowed red from the bloodstains. So there they lay, two virginal lovers united in death, their marriage rites solemnized in the grave where there are none to celebrate the marriage feast. They looked like two quietly sleeping side by side in the same bed. Yet they are the evidence of the pain and destruction that one man can engender upon another by his own stubbornness and pride.
Strange.
What do you make of it?
The queen has left without saying a word,
giving no indication of her feelings, one way or another.
I marvel too, but that entertains good hope. A public demonstration of grief would be unlike her. She'll suffer like any other mother for her son's loss, but with her maidens, she will mourn. She is discreet and will not err.
I know not. The strange silence is no less ominous than excessive grief.
I shall go with her to remove all doubts if the tumult of her heart conceals some fell design. It may be that you are right, and that unnatural silence signifies nothing good.
Look! The king himself appears!
Evidence against himself he bears.
I quake, such a charge against a king to make.
But all must own, the guilt is his and his alone.
Yet silent witnesses follow him.
Each is still a stone.
Hades is deep. There was a lust inside of me that drove me like a lunatic. A lust that drove me to an insane plunge to death. Your death, my son. Oh. See here, the killer and the victim. See here, the father and the son. I killed him by my actions. There is no guilt in him, none. Cut down in the morning of his life, my hope. Oh, my joy. I was the one to power your knife. My pride determined your death.
Now you see what is true, but you see it too late.
Schooled by sorrow, heavy is the hand of God, thorny and rough the paths that my feet have trod. Humbled by pride, my pleasure turned to pain. Poor mortals, now we all labor in vain.
Sorrows are thine, my lord, but more to come. These that lie at thy feet, another yet undone. More grievous news awaits, as you will soon see. Agonies lie at thy feet, yet news awaits that will make thy suffering complete.
You can do no more to me. I am broken.
Your wife is dead. Her spirit now mingles below with that of her slaughtered son.
No. Oh.
Her body is still warm, but her spirit has flown.
Hades is deep. Bottomless is this abyss of death. Oh, am I to die too? Is there more blood, more savagery, more hacking of my flesh, more pain? First the son, and now his mother. No end to this grief.
Look for yourself. She lies here for all to view.
Alas, another added woe I see. One minute I clasped my lifeless son, and now another victim that death has won. Most unhappy mother and most unhappy son.
'Twas by the household shrine that she did collapse, my lord. My boy, still holding the razor-sharp knife. And as darkness drew its slow blinds, and her eyes closed, She cursed you as his murderer, who drove him to this death.
No, there must be a sword here somewhere. Guards! A knife! A two-edged knife to cut away my life! Oh. Please. Living is now misery for me. Where'er I go, I see blood that can't be washed even by the sea.
'Tis true that thou wert charged by the dead queen as author of all deaths, both hers and her sons.
Tell me what way was her self-destruction wrought?
As she heard weeping for Haman, she cried aloud and skewered herself under the heart with your sword.
I am the guilty cause. I did the deed. Yes, I plead guilty. Oh, where am I to go? North or south, east or west? All of these directions lead to death. There's blood on my hands. Can the night hide it away? I am broken. My back is crushed. Let the hangman lead me away from this place! I should be dead!
The root of happiness is to nurture the wisdom in your heart. Man must see to man's responsibilities and let others play their part.
Above all, to stand in awe of the indestructible, immortal law.
That man may pretend to be a law unto himself,
but at the end he must face a judgment greater than himself.
Today, it has happened here.
With our own eyes, we have seen an old man,
through suffering, become wise.